In this recipe video, we're going to be learning our ABCs. Hi everyone, it's Tasha and welcome to another recipe video. And today we're going to be making the Malaysian dessert Ais Kacang, also known as Batu Campur or shortened to ABC. Timestamps are down below if you want to skip straight to the making of it. If not, stick around and let's learn why it's ABC. So ABC is the shortened abbreviation of Batu Campur, which just means ice mix, and its other name, Ais Kacang, literally just means iced beans or iced nuts. But there's a bit more to this dessert than that. This is a shaved ice dessert, so the base is shaved ice, and then it's absolutely doused in evaporated milk, syrups, and then you add sweet red beans or sweet red kidney beans, jellies, nuts, sweet corn, all sorts. That's where the mixed comes in. This is a super popular dessert in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Southeast Asia in general. The must-haves obviously are the shaved ice, the syrups, the sweet red beans and nuts. Otherwise it wouldn't be mixed nuts and beans with ice. And the rest is totally up to you. Usually you also get some herbal grass jelly, some palm seeds and syrup, sometimes nata de coco jelly, sometimes extra chendol jelly, sometimes fresh fruits, all sorts. And along with the unsweetened evaporated milk to sweeten it, the most common syrups usually used are gula melaka syrup, that's palm sugar syrup, rose syrup and pandan syrup. We're going to be making all three syrups today, although I can actually find rose syrup at the supermarket quite easily. I'll show you how to make that as well if you can't get hold of it. All are really easy to make. And then it's just a case of putting it together. Now if my scheduling is correct and I actually happen to be in Malaysia visiting family today for the next couple of weeks, which is why I wanted to make some of my favourite Malaysian desserts. And this is definitely one of my #1 favourites. It's perfect for cooling off on a hot and humid day. And it's good timing too because today we're having a heat wave in London. Unfortunately that also means I have to work very quickly because obviously ice melts and shaved ice melts faster. So this is going to be the quickest I've ever worked. To make the shaved ice you can either use obviously a shaved ice machine. I actually have a pretty good blender. It's what's it called? Just trying to read it from over here. A sage, and that crushes ice quite well as well, so check your blender to see if it's high power enough to make snow from ice cubes. Hopefully I'll be eating a lot of ABCs out there in Malaysia while I'm there. But since you're here with me now, let's see how it's done at home. So with all that said, let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. Now we're going to use 3 syrups to make our ABC, and I'm going to start with making arguably the most important one, and that's the gula melaka syrup, that's the palm sugar syrup. So here I have 1 block of gula melaka. This is dark palm sugar. It's easier actually if you chop it up. I actually did it before when I made chendol and I made gula melaka syrup. I chopped it up first, and it's even easier to chop it up if you can whack it in the microwave just for a few seconds or in the oven to soften it up and heat it. It is too hot, and A, I don't own a microwave, and B, quite frankly it's too hot to put the oven on, so I'm just going to dissolve it as it is. It'll take a little bit longer but not that much longer. I'm also going to add in 1 pandan leaf, which I have, washed, that's the word. This one's a little bit fluffy because I've actually frozen it as well, because I tend to buy mine in batches, wash them and then freeze them. And once they're out of the freezer they're a bit floppy, and actually I think a bit easier to work with. So as you can see I shredded it a bit to make it more compact. I'm also going to knot it just a bit loosely. And I am going to chuck that in. Oh, that smells so fragrant. We're going to take this out when we're done. It doesn't dissolve and you don't eat it because it's very tough and fibrous, but it imparts a lovely, sweet, almost ricey fragrance to it. A little bit vanilla, a little bit coconut, a little bit ricey. I can't describe it. It is lovely. And now I'm going to add 200 millilitres of boiling hot water. Let's switch this on and dissolve our gula melaka block. And I'm just putting it on medium heat. It started bubbling, let's give it a little roll around. Whoops, there we go. It does dissolve quite fast because it is a relatively soft sugar. Let's give the pandan leaf a bit of a squeegee. Just every so often give it a little stir, give it a little roll around. I'm going to get rid of this spent pandan leaf. I'm going to turn the heat up ever so slightly. I'm going to bring this to the boil, and then as soon as it's boiling I'm going to time 3 minutes and let it boil for 3 minutes, and that will be our syrup. Now you can see it's coming to a proper boil. Let's time 3 minutes. It's been 3 minutes and this is looking good. It looks very thin at the moment, but trust me, when it cools down it'll thicken. Now we're going to make a pandan syrup. I've got 100 grams of caster sugar. I'm going to add 100 grams of boiling hot water. Because this is a harder sugar, we're going to use a 1-to-1 ratio, so 100 grams to 100 milliliters. And I'm going to add a couple of drops of bright green pandan paste. And we're just going to give it a little stir. It's going to be bright green. So just like our gula melaka syrup, we're going to wait until the sugar has fully dissolved. And then we're going to bring it to the boil, and as soon as it boils, we're going to boil it for 3 minutes. So let's dissolve the sugar first. You know the score, it's now come to a rolling boil. Start the timer for 3 minutes. It's been 3 minutes for a pandan syrup, so now let's take this off the heat and let it cool completely. Finally, we're going to make some rose syrup now. It's actually easier to buy rose syrup here, but I didn't want a huge whole bottle, so same exact thing. Here I've got 100 grams of caster sugar in there and 100 milliliters of water. I've put a little bit of pink food colouring in there because the rose essence I have is not pink, it's clear. That's why I added the extra food colouring. So I'm just going to add a couple of drops of this stuff, the rose essence, just a bit because it's very strong. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to wait until the sugar is completely dissolved, bring it to a boil, and then time it for 3 minutes on the boil. So let's do that now. There we go, it's just started to properly boil. We're going to start the timer for 3 minutes. That's it, we are done with our syrups. All we have to do now is let them cool down completely before using, because obviously if we use these hot syrups on ice, we're just going to melt our ice, so see you when they're cool. I cooled my stuff overnight, the syrup overnight, so now it's time to crush some ice. So I've got mine in my blender. Let's crush. Very loud, sorry. Once you've got your shaved ice, all you have to do is pack it into a bowl and then pour over your syrups. Plenty of syrup. And don't forget some lovely evaporated milk as well, just to make things a bit richer. I've got some sweet boiled red kidney beans. These are actually bought from a Japanese shop, but you can use sweet red beans too. Some grass jelly. Palm seeds in syrup. A bit of creamed corn. Trust the process. And a sprinkling of chopped peanuts. I'm just going to be cheeky and put a little bit more red syrup there so we can see it. Let's dig in, shall we? I'm going to take a bean, a bit of corn for a little bit of saltiness with the sweet, a little bit of syrup, get the rose syrup there too. Cheers! So good. I'm going to put this down because my hand is freezing. I love this kind of everything but the kitchen sink dessert. I love the contrast of textures, the crunchy nuts and the soft jellies, a little bit of saltiness from the creamed corn and then sweetness from the everything else basically. And if I had to choose, quite frankly, between ice cream, just your bog standard ice cream, and Ais Kacang, I would always choose Ais Kacang. In fact, some people put ice cream on their Ais Kacang so you get the best of both worlds. Super happy with that. Obviously when I crushed the ice, I immediately put it into a bowl and I sort of packed it down to get more ice in there. Don't pack it down too hard, otherwise you'll get a block of ice and the syrups won't be able to soak through. So pack it down just lightly so you have like a loose snowball. So there you go, an ABC Ais Kacang. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram on tashcakes.tastes and find me on TikTok too. I'm tashcakes there too, but my handle is food in slow motion. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you'd like to see more. Give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I will see you all next time. Be good, be nice and have a good week. Brain freeze.